Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, Uranus. What planet is big, round, and full of life? I don't know about yours, but mine is Earth has 8 million people living on it. The rest have none. If a big nuclear explosion were to go off on Earth, or a big meteor from outer space were to hit Earth, that population can quickly go to zero, and humans will become extinct. What are the chances, you may ask? Close to 100%. In fact, it has happened before to the dinosaurs. Life as we know it is closest to perfect on Earth. The only other place with a close enough condition to live in, maybe, is Mars. And Elon Musk, the CEO of SpaceX, wants to send people there to make life multi-planetary and edge us against extinction. It's a story about the future, but it starts with a single cell.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon, get those rocket ships going because we want to reach Mars before the end of my term.
Oh, the future is gonna be amazing!
This is the beginning of us becoming a multiplanetary species.
We'll be sending people to Mars soon to build a self-sustaining population that will be able to produce all what they consume. According to Elon Musk, we will need about 1 million volunteers to build this colony. A colony that will require no input from Earth will need a good number of people from different professions. Talk about farmers, construction workers, doctors, scientists, teachers, car mechanics, rocket engineers, and 100 of other professions. The current biggest spaceship we have that may be capable of interplanetary trips is SpaceX Starship. It can only accommodate about 100 people per flight. With these numbers, to transport a sustainable population of 1 million people, we will need to send a minimum of 10,000 spaceships to Mars. That's a lot of rockets, a lot of money, and a lot of time. Building 10,000 starships will be very, very expensive, with one launch costing approximately $100 million. 10,000 launches will equal $1 trillion for just the cost of launching. An option is to make them reusable. I mean, no one buys a car, drives it only once, and throws it away. The good thing is, we've done that already. Theoretically, the Starship can fly to Mars and back, and go again for another trip with only minor refurbishments needed. So a couple hundred starships should be fine to take 1 million people to Mars. The bad thing is, these flights can only be done once every 2 years, when Mars and Earth align to make the distance between the two planets the shortest possible. To make 10,000 trips, with each ship having an average lifespan of 10 to 15 trips, 1,000 ships will transport 1 million people in say 60 to 70 years, since every ship will need about 4 years for a round trip. By then, many of the inhabitants will already be old. We need to make the time shorter. Because if we are to reproduce at all similar to the way the trend is going on Earth, that population will likely go extinct by the 5th generation. So, how do we make babies on Mars? That's the first question. Okay, let's dive in. Judging from the current speed Starship travels, which is 6 km per second, it would probably take us about 150 days in transit on the spacecraft. That's 5 months. This means we need to pack a lot of food, medicines, and other supplies. Transporting 100 humans in a small confined space for 5 months can go wrong in so many ways. Who will be the Lord of the Flies? It may be a good thing to borrow an idea from the movie Passenger and just put everybody on board to sleep. I mean, you get to save on space, food, and the risk of disagreements within the crew. Unfortunately, we do not have the technology to put humans into cryogenic sleep as of now. The best we can do is to cryopreserve unborn babies when the embryos are still a few cells and only a few days old. The technology is already a routine procedure in IVF, in vitro fertilization, where human eggs, sperm, and embryos are stored in extremely cold temperatures in liquid nitrogen tanks and frozen for decades without any side effects. Do we just send these tanks containing thousands of embryos to space with few people to manage them? That's the second question. The embryos can be stored for decades, maybe even centuries, and revived anytime its parents are ready to bring it to life. In IVF, the thawed embryos are usually just inserted into the womb of the mother or surrogates, and they go on to carry the pregnancies as normal. Many babies nowadays are born this way. In fact, about 5% of babies born in the US have passed through a cryogenic tank, either as a sperm, an egg, or an embryo. That's 1 in 20 kids. Even though it's almost routine now, it is certainly unrealistic to expect to have volunteer surrogates on board. We don't even know the effects that carrying pregnancies in low-gravity environments may have on the mother or the child. Maybe we can use artificial wombs. Artificial wombs assist in the maintenance of preterm babies outside the womb. The current ones in development can assist preterm babies from 22 weeks old. Not quite exactly what is needed on Mars, but the technology may improve so much that it may be possible to directly thaw embryos from the cryotanks, move them into the laboratory incubators for the early stage development, and transfer them into the artificial wombs for later developmental stages. These devices could provide a controlled environment for the fetal development from day 0 till they are born into the Martian environment. Having a baby born through this process is a bit crazy. A lot crazy actually. Like, who is the mother of the child? Who is the father? The brother? The sister? That's the third question. As compared to the other planets in our solar system, Mars has the closest conditions to Earth for life. The length of day on Mars is 24 hours 40 minutes, very close to the 24 hours of Earth. Although Mars, the smaller planet, is colder, the temperature difference is not so much, with each ranging between 140 degrees centigrade to 30 degrees centigrade, and Earth's temperature ranging between -88 degrees centigrade to 58 degrees centigrade. The average temperature on Mars may be similar to the extreme cold regions on Earth, like Antarctica. Livable? Yes. But Antarctica is not exactly a nice place to live in. Putting it in perspective, Antarctica is 1.5 times larger than the US, with just about 3,000 temporary residents at any given time. That's about 60 people in each state. Mars has no ocean on its surface, but the land mass is similar to the size of that on Earth. It has only about a third of the gravity on Earth, so we'll be able to move faster. Football on Mars will be exciting. In spite of these similarities, to put it mildly, Mars will be a difficult place to live in. First, there is no oxygen in the atmosphere. We will have to build our civilization in dome-like structures underground, pumped with oxygen, or we'll just have to wear spacesuits everywhere. The gravity on Mars is about 1/3 that of Earth. We'll be able to run faster, lift heavier objects, and jump higher than Ronaldo. But that's for people that grew up on Earth. People born on Mars will have weaker bones. They will find it difficult to adapt to Earth conditions if they were to visit. Gravity is needed for a lot of biological processes in plants and animals. Low gravity may cause growth disorders. We don't know how much effect it may have on us yet, so we'll wait and see, I guess. Mars' atmosphere is thin, meaning that the planet will be more exposed to things like asteroids falling from outer space. We need water for many biological processes, and even in our normal day-to-day activities. Mars may have water underground. It seems to have ice on its surface. We'll see how we work with that. So, can we live on Mars in these conditions? That's the fourth question. Plants and animals evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to adapt to the environment on Earth. Whales evolved to swim in oceans. Humans evolved to walk upright on land. Birds evolved to fly in our thick atmosphere. These evolutionary adaptations allow each organism to thrive in the specific niche they were adapted to. Evolution is not a pretty thing. It works by the survival of the fittest. Given that most physical traits are controlled by genes and that genes are inherited, animals with the genes that are not adapted to the environment they live in will be disadvantaged and die out slowly. Yes, Mars may support life to an extent, but we certainly are not evolved for its environment. The genes considered strong on Earth may turn out to be weaker for the survivability on Mars, and vice versa. Evolution weeds out the weaker genes by deaths. That's expensive, especially for a species in a new environment. And more importantly, it takes time. Years, tens of thousands of years, and we don't have that time. The alternative to evolution is genetic engineering, selecting or creating the best genes artificially. We might need to genetically engineer future generations to adapt to the Martian environment. This could involve enhancing their resistance to radiation, improving their ability to survive in low oxygen conditions, and optimizing their physical and cognitive abilities. Genetic engineering of the human embryo could lead to unforeseen health problems or societal issues because what we try to optimize might cause harm to another part of the body, or the technology will be used to create other things like designer babies. Humans edited for cosmetic advantages like height, blue eyes, hair color, advanced athletic abilities, and more. We will need to draw a line and simulate the long-term consequence of altering the human genome. On Earth, these levels of genetic engineering will most probably be outlawed by most governments for its questionable ethics. But Mars, likely to be ruled by different governments, may differ. It will be in the best interest of the government to allow it. They may even sponsor it, as it is their best chance for survival. If they go down this line, when will the humans that landed on Mars cease to become humans? That's the fifth question.